She had reached the kind of day where even breathing felt heavy. Maya sat in her small car in the Walmart parking lot, hands gripping the steering wheel, eyes fixed on nothing. She wasn't someone who usually gave up easily, but today felt like the end of her strength. Weeks of bad news, endless bills, a job that drained her every day, and the quiet loneliness nobody saw had piled up until she felt crushed under it. She whispered to herself that she was tired, tired of trying, tired of pretending everything was okay, tired of the world always taking more than it gave. She wanted to quit. Quit the job, quit the routine, quit pretending she had it together. She didn't even know what quit meant exactly, but everything inside her screamed for an escape. Still, she stepped out of the car because life doesn't pause just because your heart feels broken. She walked into Walmart with her head down, clutching a small list of essentials she could barely afford. The automatic doors opened, and the warm air inside didn't feel comforting. It felt like a reminder of all the responsibilities waiting for her, all the things she needed to fix, all the people she had to keep smiling in front of. She moved through the aisles slowly, picking up just the items she couldn't live without. Bread, milk, a few vegetables, nothing extra, nothing for joy. Even those felt heavy in her hands. Her phone buzzed, and she saw her manager's name pop up. She didn't answer. She didn't have the energy for the complaints or the sudden schedule changes or the pressure they always put on her. She just kept walking, trying to swallow the lump in her throat as she reached the back of the store where the layaway counter used to be. It had become a habit. She'd check her balance, hopping maybe it was lower than she remembered. But today, she felt nervous, like looking at the number would be the final push that made everything collapse. She approached the employee behind the counter, forcing a polite smile. The young woman typed her name into the computer, paused, blinked, then typed again. Maya felt her stomach drop. Something was wrong. The employee looked up with wide eyes and said, It's paid." Maya's heart stopped. "Sorry, what?" "Your whole layaway. Someone paid the entire thing off this morning." For a second, Maya didn't breathe. She didn't move. She didn't even understand. Her brain tried to process the words, but they sounded unreal, distant, like she was hearing them through water. "All of it," she whispered. The employee nodded. "Every dollar. Someone came in and they paid off several accounts, including yours. You're clear." Maya's knees almost gave out. She gripped the counter, blinking rapidly as the world blurred. This couldn't be real. Her layaway wasn't a small amount. She had put winter clothes for her niece, some shoes she desperately needed for work, and a few items she had been saving for months to buy. It wasn't much, but to her it was everything. And now it was gone. Not gone as in taken away, gone as in lifted, erased, like someone had reached into her life and removed one of the heaviest weights she had been carrying. "Do you know who paid it?" she asked, voice trembling. "No," the employee said softly. "They didn't leave a name. They just said they wanted to help." Maya covered her mouth with her hand as tears finally escaped. She couldn't remember the last time someone did something kind for her without expecting anything back. She felt something break inside her, not in a painful way, but in a way that released months of bottled emotions. 1,000 thoughts rushed through her mind. Why her? Who would do this? Why today, of all days, when she was so close to giving up? She took her items, still stunned, and walked slowly through the store. Everything looked different now, brighter somehow, lighter. She felt like she had stepped into a different version of her reality, one where goodness still existed, where people still cared, even strangers. Outside, she sat on a bench near the entrance, bags at her feet, and let the sun warm her face. She closed her eyes and breathed for what felt like the first time all month. Her phone buzzed again, but she ignored it. Right now, none of the stress mattered. Right now, the universe had shown her something she desperately needed to see, that she wasn't invisible, she wasn't alone, and the world wasn't as cold as she feared. She didn't know it, but inside the store, the man who had paid her layaway was standing near the customer service desk. Not watching her, not waiting for thanks, just finishing his receipt and preparing to leave. He wasn't rich. He wasn't famous. He wasn't someone who usually did grand gestures. But lately, he had felt a pull to do something meaningful, something that reminded people that kindness still lived in ordinary places. He had lost his wife years ago, and she used to love doing small acts of kindness. Every holiday season, she would buy toys at Walmart and donate them anonymously. After she passed, he promised himself he'd keep her spirit alive in little ways. Paying off a few layaways wasn't something he planned. It just felt right when he walked by the counter and saw the list of outstanding balances. He noticed one account with winter clothes for a child, a pair of work shoes, and a few household essentials. Something about it tugged at him. It felt like a story he couldn't see but could somehow feel. Without overthinking, he paid it, along with two others, hoping it would land in the hands of someone who truly needed a lift. He never expected to witness the impact. As he walked outside, he saw a woman sitting on the bench with tears on her cheeks, clutching her bags. He didn't know it was her. He didn't know this was the moment his decision had reached its destination. He simply paused, felt a quiet warmth in his chest, and continued walking toward his truck. Maya wiped her tears and looked up just as he passed by. Their eyes met. She didn't know he was the one. He didn't say anything. He simply gave her a gentle nod, the kind of nod strangers exchange when they silently acknowledge each other's humanity. She nodded back, feeling a tiny spark of comfort from the simple gesture. He walked away without ever revealing who he was. Maya watched him go, feeling something shift inside her. It wasn't just gratitude. It was hope, a hope she thought she had lost forever. She looked down at her hands, at the bags filled with things she needed but couldn't afford hours ago. She felt a warmth in her chest, a feeling like life whispering to her, "Don't give up yet. You're closer than you think." For the rest of the day, she felt lighter. The world didn't change, her problems were still there, her job was still difficult, her bills still waited. But she had changed. Something inside her had been restored, maybe even repaired. It reminded her that kindness isn't always loud. And miracles don't always look like the movies. Sometimes they're quiet. Sometimes they come from strangers. And sometimes they arrive on the exact day you feel like quitting. Later that evening, Maya sat on her couch with her niece, the little girl trying on her new winter jacket with the brightest smile. Watching that smile filled her with a kind of joy she hadn't felt in so long. She realized the stranger didn't just pay off a balance, he gave her something priceless. He gave her a moment of relief, a day of peace, a reminder that the world could still be beautiful. She took her niece to bed and stood in the hallway, letting the silence wash over her. She thought about the man she didn't know, the kindness she couldn't repay, and the unexpected miracle that had arrived exactly when she needed it most. She whispered thank you into the quiet room, hoping somehow the message reached wherever he was. The next morning, when her phone buzzed with another message from work, she didn't panic. She didn't feel defeated. She felt stronger, steadier, like someone had rebuilt the foundation beneath her. She realized she didn't actually want to quit her life. She just wanted one moment where she felt seen, supported, and reminded that she mattered. That moment had come from a complete stranger. And it changed everything. Maya went to work with a small smile that confused everyone. She wasn't magically free of stress, but the weight had shifted. Each step felt easier. When she got her paycheck, the first thing she did was buy a little stuffed toy for a kid she often saw homeless outside the bus stop. The kindness she received had sparked something new in her, a desire to pass it on. And she did, quietly, without making a show out of it, just like the stranger who helped her. Weeks passed, and Maya found herself becoming the kind of person she used to admire, someone who noticed others. Someone who cared. Someone who believed that one small gesture could save a person's day or their hope or their life. Months later, she returned to Walmart, standing in the same layaway section where everything had changed. She placed a small amount of money on the counter and told the employee, "Put this towards someone's balance. Anyone. No name needed." It wasn't much, but kindness doesn't need to be big. It just needs to be real. As she walked out of the store, she felt the winter breeze brush against her face. This time, she didn't feel tired. She felt alive. She felt grateful. She felt like she was part of something bigger, a chain of kindness that stretched from stranger to stranger, moment to moment, heart to heart. And somewhere in the city, the man who had unknowingly saved her spirit sat on a park bench, watching the sunset. He didn't know what impact he had made. He didn't know whose life he touched. He just knew he had honored his late wife's memory. He felt peace knowing that even the smallest act of kindness could become someone's reason to keep going. Maya sat in her car that evening, hands on the steering wheel just like the day everything felt impossible. But this time, she didn't feel like quitting. She felt like beginning again. All because a stranger, with no expectation and no applause, chose kindness. And sometimes, one random act of kindness is all it takes to make someone smile again and save their hope before it breaks.